Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, OpenAI has its first federal partner, and the Pentagon selects Anduril's autonomous underwater drones for Replicator. It's Monday, August 19th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are today's top headlines. Today, FedScoop has a story that you won't find anywhere else. As OpenAI looks to make inroads with the federal government, it has struck a deal with the U.S. Agency for International Development as its first partner to use its ChatGPT Enterprise platform. Makanju, OpenAI's vice president of global affairs, told FedScoop that USAID plans to use the technology to help reduce administrative burden and make it easier for new and local organizations to partner with the agency. Makanju said OpenAI is actively pursuing a FedRAMP moderate accreditation for ChatGPT Enterprise, which would clear the generative AI platform to handle moderately sensitive federal data like personally identifiable information or controlled unclassified information outside of Microsoft's Azure government service. She said the company had nothing to share, at least for now, regarding potential work with the cloud providers beyond Microsoft. ChatGPT Enterprise, released last August, is meant for larger organizations and is supposed to offer more advanced analytics and customization, though other federal agencies have already started using the software in more limited ways. That USAID is ChatGPT Enterprise's first federal agency customer really isn't that surprising. Under Administrator Samantha Power, USAID has made artificial intelligence a key focus. Earlier this year, she met with both Makanju and the CEO of OpenAI competitor Anthropic, Dario Amodei. Both of these discussions focused on how generative AI could be used in the context of distributing aid, among other topics. Overall, the agency's focus on artificial intelligence has ramped up, with new work meant to guide both potential use cases of the technology and possible threats to safety, security, and democratic values. There's plenty more in the exclusive interview with Makanju, so be sure to check that out on FedScoop.com. And some other important news that you may have missed last week out of the DoD and exclusively on DefenseScoop. Multiple sources told the publication that Pentagon leadership selected Anduril's Dive LD autonomous underwater vehicles as part of the second tranche of capabilities to be quickly mass-produced via the high-profile modernization effort known as Replicator. This news marks the first public report of technologies that made the Defense Department's cut for Replicator 1.2. And it also follows the company's recently revealed plans to launch a new factory in Rhode Island to speed up the manufacturing of these advanced uncrewed platforms. Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks unveiled the Replicator initiative 1 year ago as a strategic effort to deter China by incentivizing and accelerating industrial production capacity and the military's adoption of attritable autonomous systems in multiple domains and through replicable processes by mid-2025. Since the announcement of Replicator, Hicks has been frank about DoD leaders' aim to deliberately be tight-lipped and secretive about certain aspects of the project as it comes into fruition. Ahead of the Pentagon's official announcement, DefenseScoop reported in April that the first tranche of capability selections to be expedited through the initial pursuit, referred to as Replicator 1.1, included loitering munitions, counter-drone assets, and multiple types of unmanned surface vessels. Sources who spoke to DefenseScoop on the condition of anonymity confirmed that Anduril's Dive LD autonomous underwater vehicles were put forward for Replicator by the Navy's Program Office for Advanced Undersea Systems, also known as PMS 394, and ultimately selected alongside several other technologies for the second tranche. According to Anduril's website, the 3-ton Dive LD is able to autonomously conduct missions for up to 10 days with an architecture that scales for multi-week missions, and it's ideal for a variety of missions such as undersea battlespace intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, mine counter warfare, anti-submarine warfare, seafloor mapping, and more. The platforms have a 3D printed exterior and are equipped to conduct missions at up to 6,000 meters of ocean depth. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit FedScoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more TAP headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.